5 Air India pilots have tested positive for COVID-19. 77 Air India pilots were tested and 5 out of them have tested positive. For more on this, let's go across to my colleague Vishnu Som. Vishnu, what's the update on this?
So 5 Air India pilots have tested positive from a group of 77 who were being tested yesterday in Mumbai in the western region. They are all Dreamliner Boeing 787 pilots who are getting set to fly some of the relief operations to bring back Indians from several parts of the world. All 5 of these pilots are entirely asymptomatic and have been sent back home for home quarantine at this stage. None of these pilots have flown any of the relief missions so far. The last they flew was on the 20th of April. So it's been more than 14 days since they last operated a flight, and the flights which they have operated would possibly just have been to move the aircraft around because the ban on domestic and international aviation had already been in place. So it's unclear at this stage whether they were in touch or they were in contact with any passengers per se. But obviously now that they have tested positive, they can't operate these flights, so they're back home. And that's what we know at this stage.
Vishnu, how big a challenge is this for the aviation company, not just Air India for that matter, for the sector as such, because they are a vulnerable section of people, the pilots?
Well, in this particular case, the pilots did not contract an infection on the basis of having flown a flight to any area. And if they did, that would likely have been detected within a period of 14 days, right? That's what happens in terms of most COVID infections.
Okay.
In this case, it's more than 14 days since they have operated a flight. So our sources in Air India telling us is that they have contracted this infection somewhere in Mumbai where they were staying. And in that sense, they're as vulnerable as anybody. But the fact is that they have contracted the infection, and I think it's also of great concern that they're entirely asymptomatic. That they aren't showing, they don't have a temperature or they don't have any of the other conditions associated with this. So it's something that the airline is obviously looking at very, very closely. They've been sent home at this stage. The protocol for testing has been decided by the Ministry of Home Affairs. For all of the pilots and crew members who operate these flights of Air India abroad for the repatriation/evacuation operations, have to be tested before they operate their flight, and have to be tested, I believe, once they come back as well. So they hadn't actually operated any flights. They were not living together, obviously, and so it's 5 separate cases. And if anything, this gives you an idea of the spread of the infection in Mumbai.
And do you see any impact of this on the sector as such, or is it too early to say anything about that?
This has nothing to do with the sector.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was Vishnu Som telling us how 5 Air India pilots have tested positive, though they are asymptomatic, but it's something to be concerned about for the company. They've been sent to home quarantine.